not guilty, Your Honor.
You may be seated. Defense, you may now make your opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are gathered here today to discuss the unjust trial of Antigone. Antigone is not guilty, for the law she broke was unjust. What she did was morally correct and agreed with the laws of the gods. Must I remind you that the laws of the gods prevail over those of the king?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are gathered here today. I present to you a criminal! She knowingly broke the law, which is a reflection of the laws of the gods, and admitted to it. I am here today to show you all why Antigone should face death for her unlawful actions. Breaking a law should never be permissible.
All right. Call your first witness to the stand, defense. Or prosecutor.
I call Antigone to the stand. Let's start simple. Antigone, did you bury your brother?
Yes, I buried him.
Did you know that this was against the law? Did you say, how come you recognize that what I've done is wrong?
Yes, and I would break the law again.
You were even willing to face the consequences. You yourself said, I'll still bury him. It will be fine to die while doing that. You did the crime and embraced the consequences. Why are we even here then?
These laws are corrupt. I was obligated to do this by the gods. I do not care about the state law. I buried him because it is the God's will. I will never have another living brother. Creon is an unjust king, and this is the one who deserves to be punished.
Creon. Creon is a hero. His laws reflect those of the gods. How can he go against the gods if he praises them and does as he wishes?
He is anything but. He says this but does not prove it. I'll come to recognize that I've done wrong, but if these people are here being unjust, may they endure no greater punishment than the injustices they're doing me. Ask anybody on the street. Any one of them will say that this pig is...
Enough! It's clear enough that the spirit of this girl is passionate. Her father was the same. She has no sense of compromise in times of trouble. Do we need to take a break?
No, Your Honor. No further questions.
Defense, you may now cross-examine.
Antigone, your brothers were both Oedipus and Polynices. When both of them died, only one was buried, the other was left to rot. Was that fair?
No, he should have been buried.
Did the gods create this law?
No, Creon did. Creon did all of this. Zeus did not announce those laws to me, and justice living with the gods below sent no such law for men.
No further questions.
Who's your next witness, attorney?
Your Honor, I'd like to call Creon, King of Thebes, to the stand. My lord. Creon, would you call yourself a fair man?
Why, yes, I would.
And as a fair man, would you say that you, being the sole king, is fair?
Why wouldn't it be? According to the laws, that is not the rule in the city.
Then you would say that when Antigone breaks these laws, she should indeed be punished.
Absolutely.
And just so we can make it clear on the matter of punishing the guard, which I'll get to later, you said yourself that he's not to blame.
Yes, I said you're free. No serious charges made against you.
It's been nice meeting you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Creon, what made you decide to make burying this body a law?
Easy. He was a traitor to Thebes. No traitor of Thebes will be buried there.
Yet he was still related to the past king. Did the gods inform you that you should make this law?
Ha. No one can tolerate what you just said when you claim gods might care about this corpse.
Haven't the gods proved that wrong? They've taken both your son and your life. I ask you, Creon, are you a god?
I'm not. What kind of question is that?
The gods' laws are more powerful than men. Zeus did not announce these laws to me, and justice living with the gods below sent no such laws for men. No
What?
further questions.
Who's the next witness?
I'd like to call this meeting. Ismene, state your relation to Antigone, please.
I'm her sister.
And being her sister, were you aware of her plan to bury her brother?
I was aware, but however, I had no part in the activity.
If you were aware, why didn't you report it?
I wanted to protect my sister. She's all I have.
Is it truly because of your love for your sister, or could it be because you knew what she was doing was right?
It's possible.
No further questions.
Ismene, you tried to convince Antigone to not bury Polynices. You told her yourself a vain attempt should not be made at all. Why did you do this?
I knew what the consequences would be if she was caught. Creon is a man that abides fiercely with his laws and will punish anyone who breaks them.
So if these so-called laws are unjust, why would you be afraid to break them? If they were actually unjust, then the act of breaking them should not inflict fear in you.
I can't act against the state. That's not in my nature.
You even told her your mission makes no sense. Do you believe that what she did was the right thing to do?
I honestly don't know, but I believe that she thought what she did was the right thing to do.
No further questions.
That is enough for now. Let's take a 5-minute recess.
That girl there is very insolent in contravening the laws the king had proclaimed. She didn't agree with what Creon had decreed and so disobeyed him.
You're right. As the judge had said, it's clear enough the spirit in this girl is passionate. Her father was the same. So he has no sense of compromise in times of trouble, leading her to make rash decisions about what would be right. She thought she had succeeded in doing this crime, but forgot a major detail. The important part of true success is wisdom, which such defendant seemingly lacks.
Also, she utters, I admit I did it. I won't deny that. Later on, she decides to play pity party by saying things like, but my spirit died some time ago, so I might help the dead as well as, and I quote, instead I go sorrow to my grave. She has overall broken the law and didn't foresee the consequences. To add on, we really shouldn't be going on when she was well aware of the crime when Creon stated, were you aware there was a proclamation forbidding what you did? And she replied with, I heard of it, how could I not? It was public knowledge.
To further prove your point, she later tried to manipulate everyone into feeling bad so she can get the attention because we know that Creon stated, you're dismissed, go where you want, you're free. This was after she admitted to it. Also, Ismene comes into the scene trying to die with her. Despite what she said, she previously stated this, and I quote, let me respect the dead and die with you. So in conclusion, at the time being, I feel Antigone has a lot to be desired as well as Ismene because the past is the past and can always you. Anyway, what do you guys think about the evidence presented so far?
I agree that the evidence leads more to her guiltiness as opposed to her innocence. Like, I feel that since the gods don't pay respect to evil men, I don't feel we should be any different. She got what she wanted, which was the burial, and so action should be taken because she's a criminal. Because of this, I feel she's guilty on all charges, especially considering that she admitted to do it to begin with. No one is such a fool that he loves death, and she is no exception. She has lied to all of us and deserves to be properly disciplined.
I disagree. Haven has spoken that everyone in the city believes that Antigone shouldn't be punished for the crime she has committed. They say of all women here, she least deserves the worst of deaths for her most glorious acts. Yes, Creon has set in laws that shouldn't be broken, but the gods do not speak these words, only man. If he treats his country's laws with due respect and honors justice by swearing on the gods, he wins high honors in the city, but when he grows bold and turns evil, then he has no city. A man like that, let him not share my home or my mind. Burying her brother shouldn't have taken this long. Creating such a law isn't unjust, and unjust laws can be broken by citizens who agree that they're wrong.
I really like what everyone's saying, but we still have a second half, so let's see how this goes if we can all agree on a verdict.
Your Honor, I'd like to call the guard to the stand. So, guard, before Antigone was faced with her charges, you were going to be the one faced with them. Is that correct?
Yes, Creon told me he will just confirm how much your treasonous gains have made you suffer. But after I caught Antigone in the act, I was quickly released from this punishment.
I see. But you caught her in the act. How did you do this?
The guards and I unburied the body from once before. After she discovered the body unburied, she screamed down a lament, and then she swore, calling evil curses down upon the ones who've done this.
But how could you be sure to know it was Antigone, not some peasant girl?
We saw this girl giving the dead man's corpse full burial rites.
Calling the act, defying the laws of the land, there's nothing more important than that. No further questions.
Guard, do you think Creon is a good king?
I used to until he tried to convict me for a crime I did not do.
He did. Why do you think he did this?
He doesn't abide by the law. He only does what he wants.
If he does this, do you think his way of ruling is just?
No, if he just does what he wants, that doesn't necessarily make his laws and actions right.
No further questions. Next witness. Eurydice, wife of Creon. Eurydice, you have been wedded to Creon and bear both of his sons. Both of them now dead. Is this true?
Yes, I have cried out in sorrow for the glorious death of Meroreus, who had died some time ago, and then again for Haman. For Haman, I heard someone speak of bad news about my family. I was terrified. After hearing such news, I left without a word, good or bad.
And who do you blame for their deaths?
I personally blame Creon for both of those deaths. I call out evil things against you, killer of your sons.
Did you agree with Creon when he punished Antigone?
I disagree with Creon when he didn't let Haman and Antigone wed. Haman and Antigone loved each other.
Then you believe Antigone shouldn't be punished for this crime?
I believe she shouldn't have died for her crimes.
No further questions.
Prosecutor, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Eurydice, you say you blame Creon for the death of your son, right?
I absolutely do.
You don't blame Antigone? After all, she was the one that broke the law.
No, why would I?
Why? Antigone was the one that broke the law. She's the cause of all these deaths. Your husband was simply just trying to uphold the law. You know this, though. Admit it. Admit it!
I won't admit anything. However, I haven't thought about it this way. Maybe you're right. My son wouldn't have died if Antigone hadn't broke the law.
No further questions.
Who's your next witness?
I call Haman to the stand. You are the son of the very man who has condemned your bride to be. Are you incensed by the sentence passed upon her? Are you furious with your father?
I am his. For me, his judgments and the way he acts on them are good. I shall follow them. I'll not consider any marriage to be greater benefit than his fine leadership.
That's the greatest blessing a father could ask for. And as someone who follows Creon, do you agree with his rule?
Although I couldn't find his words not right, other words might be just as good or better. Many people in the city disagree with his laws, and he refuses their wisdom. Men who believe only in their own wisdom and refuse to listen to others are empty men. There's nothing bad about learning and changing.
Does that include the young teaching the old?
Don't look at someone's age, look at what I do. People like Creon should not simply dismiss a person's advice simply because they are younger.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Make question the witness, prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Haman, you spoke of looking at your actions rather than your age. And what you do, does that include this? Honoring those who act against our laws?
I would not encourage anyone to show respect to evil men.
And Antigone, isn't she suffering from the same disease?
The people of Thebes deny she is.
So the city is now to instruct the king how to govern? Is he to rule the land by someone else's whim or by himself?
A city which belongs to one man is no city at all.
According to the laws, does not the ruler own the city?
By himself, Creon would make an excellent king, but in a desert.
Seems as this boy's fighting on the woman's side now.
That's true. If Creon is the woman, I'm just concerned for him.
Setting your judgment up against your father is a despicable act.
Not when I see him making a mistake and being unjust.
Is it a mistake to honor your own rule?
He is not doing that by trampling on the god's prerogatives.
And so it is permissible to betray your father and trample on the law?
What's the threat in challenging a bad decree? Were he not my father, I would say he wasn't thinking straight.
You will be sorry for making such demeaning concerns against your own father. Your brain is empty. No further questions, Your Honor.
Who is your next witness?
I would like to call the messenger to the stand. Messenger, do you agree that Antigone caused all of this chaos?
There is no set place which I praise or blame.
Do you agree that no matter what the law, you should always follow it?
I will always follow my leaders' laws, no matter what I think. I'm not here to go against my master's wishes, even if I don't believe something is just. I just do what is expected of me.
So it seems to me that you agree that Antigone should be punished. What do you think of Creon, though?
All I'm saying is that death would be a fairly unjust punishment. But for Creon, in my view, was once a man rose up to, but he has lost what gives him pleasure.
You say this, however, you also said, he saved the state from his enemies. He took control and reigned and prospered with the birth of noble children. This sounds like a man who admires Creon, not someone that doubts him, wouldn't you say?
I suppose so.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Lawyer, would you like to question this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
So, messenger, you have said that you witnessed Eurydice and Haemon commit suicide, correct?
Correct.
Why do you think they did it?
I think Haemon did it out of remorse for Antigone's death, and Eurydice did it out of remorse for her son's death.
Exactly. Creon caused his whole family to fall apart. If Antigone had not have died, the others would still be alive right now, correct?
Well, yes, I guess that is correct.
And what did you exactly see when Eurydice killed herself?
With her own hands, she stabbed her belly. Once she heard her son's unhappy fate, she called out in sorrow for people who have died. And with her last breath, she called out evil things against Creon, the killer of her sons.
So, even Creon's own wife seems like she hates him. How can we trust a person like him to make rules for the city when no one agrees with him or even likes him? Did you have any feeling that Eurydice was going to commit suicide?
Not at all. She's discreet and has experience. She won't make mistakes. She doesn't think it's right to mourn for her son in public.
Yes, Creon has put his family and city in danger.
Your Honor, can I make my closing statement now?
Oh, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have more than showed why the defense's arguments are insignificant. Yes, hold on. They have tried to say that what Antigone did was right, because Creon and his laws are wrong, to no avail. I hope you make the right decision with a verdict to sentence Antigone to death.
Could I make my closing statement?
You may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the only thing that has been proven here today is that Antigone is not guilty. Yes, she broke the law, but is it really a crime if the law was unjust?
Paige Hoffman, please come to the front office.
Nearly everyone here seems to agree that Creon is an unfair king that creates unfair laws. The only question now is, what do you think?
Has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty because we realize that the law is unjust and breaking the law is permissible if the law is unjust, and we have concluded that the law put in place by the king is unjust, and therefore Antigone is now exonerate and free of all charges. Unfair law.
This court is adjourned.
I heard that book had